All right, all three of them are finally here. We've got Skullgrin and Cloudburst, aka Liege Maximo, and Micronus Prime showed up. Or maybe I think just Micronus showed up on Friday. They shipped Vector Prime / Metalhawk here in a separate box that finally showed up today. But I just want to do, before we get into the review for all three of them, show off the packaging because it's kind of neat. One, you get the little Titan Master, the weapon, and then the Pretender shell that they hide in this case, Metalhawk and Vector Prime. But what's neat is on the back, there's a little window so you can see the symbol and the Prime Master power along with their power. Vector Prime is a time traveler. Metalhawk is the decoy armor. And then a call out for one of the other ones, in this case, Micronus. So, yeah, not going to dwell on the packaging, just want to show it off as a neat little package with the little dudes, and then a way to look at the actual Prime Master there on the back. So we'll go ahead and crack him open, and then we'll review the three of them. All right, here is the video review for Wave 1 of the Prime Masters. We saw the packaging just a second ago. Actually shot that like 3 hours ago. Then played with these and came back to shoot them, so I started with my usual intro, even though we've already technically started this video by the time you're seeing this part. Anyway, that's a ramble. So here they are out of the package in their little Pretender shells. We've got Liege Maximo in his Skullgrin armor, Vector Prime in his Metalhawk armor, which is my favorite of the three, I think, and Micronus in the Cloudburst armor. Now, the armors themselves are, one, I really dig them. I really love these. I'm looking forward to getting all 12 of them, and possibly more if they do more. But they're small, they're fun, they are, with the elbows or the shoulder swivels, exactly as posable as the old Pretenders. So yeah, so then, I mean, the shells themselves have some arm posability, and that's about it, aside from the hinge that the shell opens on. So they're little chunks, but they're cute little chunks, and I dig them. They also have the weapon functionality, which we'll get to. So yeah, they're little dudes inside the shells, and the shells themselves can, as you've seen, transform. You can flip these up, pull them down, take out the Prime Master inside. Sometimes it takes a little getting to get them out. There we go. In this case, flip the gun up. They all have the same basic transformation. And then Micronus attaches here. They don't plug in with the feet. You actually plug it, well, they don't plug in with this tab. They actually peg onto two little pegs back here. There we go. And then the head fits in that little slot. There's Micronus as a weapon that can be used by larger figures in the case of point. Here's Grotesque. We'll go ahead and you can see deluxes and larger figures can, actually even the legends, I think, although they might be a little large for legends, can use these guys as handheld weapons. Metalhawk / Vector Prime does the same thing. Pop them out. Fold them in half with this little Vector Prime symbol there. Peg them onto the pegs on the back. He also now becomes a handheld weapon. Skullgrin is actually a little different, or Liege Maximo here, in that he does not become a gun, he becomes a claw. And there's a couple different ways you can use him. You can have him just as a handheld claw weapon. You can attach him. Some characters, I think Dreadwind has it, Swoop has it. Actually, I can just kind of show you on Swoop here since he's in robot mode. You can plug them onto the forearm if they have the port to kind of give them a claw weapon. Also, if you were so inclined in combiner mode, if you have a limb, one of the arms, you can actually have the stick straight out and plug it in as like a claw extension hand if you want to. But yeah, so he becomes like this little claw weapon, and we'll go ahead and attach him here. So there are the three in their respective weapon modes. And what's neat is these friction peg in, they actually come detached. You have to snap them in. They're just a small friction peg. And they have a smaller 3mm peg inside there. I think it's 3mm. So the individual shells can hold their weapons as well, which is really kind of cool. Go ahead and do it for all three of them, because why not? Flip the pegs back, put the little peg in their hands, And of course, you can swap the weapons as well. So they can little kind of like be remote shells and fight, or fight with the Prime Masters inside them if you have them in, since they're out here. Now the Prime Masters are pretty much exactly the same as Titan Master bodies, except instead of a face, they have the little sigil of the Prime. Although some of them do kind of look like faces. My Cronus kind of looks like a Samus helmet. Liege Maximo looks like my pet monster or something. Vector Prime is just a little so like one of the functionist council heads, but because of that, they can function. You can, if you wish, pop them off and use them as heads. They seem to fit. I don't know if it's something about the size of the head. There doesn't seem to be any significant difference comparing to an actual Titan Master. Like here's Scorponok. They don't seem to be any less deep or thick than regular Titan Master heads, but for some reason all of them sit a little looser in the neck joint on the deluxes I've tried them on. Now maybe there's some where they fit okay, but I've 3 or 4 deluxes I've tried and they all sit a little more loosely than the standard Titan Masters do. I don't know why that is. Because like I said, size-wise, they don't appear to be any different or any thinner in any dimension in the head, but I could be wrong. Now you could also, if you want, go ahead and put him off to the side now. You can fit Titan Masters in here, although your mileage may vary, because I haven't tried Scorponok, the little die-cast Scorponok in Metal Hawk yet, because he just showed up, but over the weekend I was playing with them. He kind of makes Zaku look like or Cloudburst look like a Zaku. But, like, he fits inside the Cloudburst armor okay, but, like, even the back halves of the shells are different to fit the different weapons and the claw feet and such. He doesn't quite fit in Skullgrin. Like, he gets in there, but, like, when you do it, Skullgrin keeps popping. He doesn't clip into place like he does with the other Titan Masters, because you see he actually clips and locks into place, and with Scorponok, he keeps popping back out. Not much, like about like that far, but he won't clip all the way into place with Scorponok inside him. So if you try to hide a Titan Master in him, it may vary. And of course, they bestow their Prime powers on characters using them, whether in the hands and feet for combiner mode or in the matrices on the leaders, or whether just riding around in the Legends class figures. They bestow their various Prime powers. Liege Maximo is a trickster, so his powers really kind of specify. You really have to look at the character card for that character with the Liege Maximo attachment to see what his powers are. My Cronus is a power swap, according to the back of his trickster on the back of his box. He also says power swap, so he probably lets you, transfers powers and such. And Vector Prime is a time traveler, and I know what his power on one of my characters is because I did the 4 characters I got. If you remember, I got Onyx Dreadwind, who is not out yet. Solus Slug, also Solus Prime, not out yet. Amalgamous Jazz, also not out yet. But I did get Vector Swoop. So Swoop with Vector Prime power has precision time strikes that alter events and destinies. I don't know if you can read that, but so he's got some time powers when Vector Prime is attached. And you can put these, like I said, you can put these in the hands. So right here, if we plug this in to Swoop, now Swoop has precision time strikes that alter events and destiny. So he's got time powers now that I've plugged him in. I don't know what Liege Maximo is on Dreadwind, and again, here he is in vehicle mode, because the armor does attach in both robot and vehicle mode. So you can attach Liege Maximo in there, and now Dreadwind has some sort of tricky powers, whether it's maybe he teleports, maybe he casts illusions, maybe he makes since a lot of his powers on his cards tend to relate to him just feeling alone and remorse, or not remorse, but like morose. Like here, like if Onyx Dreadwind were attached, he would cast his spark in ghostly form to haunt others, and like one of them is like he spreads his own despair among people he's combined with. Like, so like he's kind of the mopey dude. So I'm sure maybe he just makes people feel mopey or tricks them into feeling sad after a victory. I don't know. He's got some sort of trickster power. We'll find the card and we'll see what that is. I don't know. I don't think I've seen that one yet. But yeah, so you can see that they work with the primes in the same basic play pattern as the Titan Masters, although instead of heads, they turn into this. Although, again, the monster head here on, I'll show both of them off on Grotesque, kind of works as a monster head. Not really a Transformer face, but okay. And again, you can kind of give a Transformer Samus helmet with Micronus. Again, they kind of work as heads. Some of them do, some of them don't. But yeah, we'll set Grotesque back over to the side here. So that's how Titan Masters work. I'm really digging them. I love, like I said, I love the little Pretender homages. I'm looking forward to them. Now we know, so we've got these three. We've got Vector Prime with Metal Hawk, Cloudburst with Micronus, and Liege Maximo with Skullgrin. Wave 2 is going to also bring us, I believe it's Alchemist Prime. It is Alchemist Prime with Submarauder, and Alpha Trion in the Landmine Pretender shell. And Wave 3, if it follows the leaked stuff we saw, will have Quintus Prime with Bludgeon, Solus Prime with Octopunch, and Megatronus with Bomb Burst. So that's 8 of the primes. Now we know one of the primes is Optimus, if we're going by the 13 primes, which means there's 4 primes that we now know the names of thanks to some people who translated or from just all the cards that have come out. So we know we're currently have not seen Amalgamus Prime, Onyx Prime, Prima, or Nexus Prime. Now, so those are the last 4 we need to see officially. Now maybe they'll surprise us with some other characters down the line in these little Pretender shells, because I'd love to get more of these Pretender shells. But like, I personally would like to see Splashdown, maybe Groundbreaker, Bugly. Who else would I like to see? Definitely those 3. As our last 4 homages. I'd totally also be okay if the last 4 came in homages to the classic Pretender shells, Starscream, Bumblebee, Jazz, and Grimlock. It would be neat to get those in this little mini form in some way, shape, or form. But like, I'd love to get Submarauder, Splashdown, a Groundbreaker, Bugly, and there was another one. Can't remember the 4th one I was thinking of. I posted on Twitter the other day. I was talking about it. So yeah, sound off in the comments. Like, if we only get the last 4 primes, Amalgamus, Onyx, Nexus, and Prima, what 4 Pretender shells would you like to see homage? Knowing that we've already got these 3, Submarauder, Landmine, Bludgeon, Octopunch, and Bomb Burst. So that takes care of those 8. What last 4 shells would you like to see in the Power of the Primes line? I'm very curious because, like I said, I've picked my 4. But anyway, those are the Prime Masters. They're very fun. They're small. They're teensy. And I love them. Like I said, Metal Hawk is my favorite. But they're all great. I'm looking forward to having like all 12 of them in like this little tiny form. So thanks for watching. Get you some Power of the Primes.